Someone looks at you mid-sentence, and you can feel it happen before you can stop it. Your face has already answered, even though your mouth hasn't moved yet. There's a small shift in your breathing, a flicker behind your eyes, a second too long of silence where there should have been a quick reply. They saw it. They know exactly where the soft spot is now, because you handed it to them yourself without saying a single word. You don't remember deciding to give that away. It never feels like a decision in the moment. A raised eyebrow, a pause in someone's voice, a comment dropped just casually enough to look accidental. And suddenly, you're transparent. Whatever you were trying to hold steady inside you is now sitting on your face, in your posture, in the half second it takes you to respond, for anyone paying attention to read. This isn't about being too sensitive. It isn't about needing thicker skin, and it has nothing to do with caring less. It's about something you've probably never sat with directly. You are not in control of what people can see in you. And anyone who can see what's happening inside you, even for a second, has just found a way in, whether they meant to or not. What if real strength was never about staying calm? What if it was about staying unreadable? There's a version of you that reacts exactly the way people expect, and you've felt it happen in real time more often than you'd like to admit. Someone says something sharp, half a joke, half a test, and you feel the pull to respond immediately, to correct them, to prove the comment landed wrong. You do it because it feels like defending yourself. But notice what actually happened first. They said something, and you reacted on schedule, like a button being pressed by someone who already knew which one to press. That's the part worth sitting with, not whether you should have reacted, whether you were ever given a choice in the matter, or whether your face and your tone made the decision for you before your mind even caught up. The people who know how to provoke you aren't reading your mind. They're reading your patterns. They know which comment makes your jaw tighten, which silence makes you fill the space, which question makes you explain yourself a little too fast. None of that requires intelligence on their part. It only requires you to keep broadcasting the same signals over and over, in the same order, every single time someone tests you. You can think back right now to the last person who got under your skin without even trying that hard. Replay it. The thing that actually unsettled you probably wasn't the comment itself. It was how exposed you felt the moment after, like they had just confirmed something about you that you didn't want confirmed. Epictetus understood this long before anyone had a word for it. He spent his early life as a slave, watching men who held total power over his body still lose control of themselves over a single insult thrown at the wrong moment. He said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." He wasn't talking about freedom from other people. He was talking about freedom from your own face, giving away the war before it even started. If someone can take everything from you except your reaction, and you still hand them your reaction for free, what exactly was taken from you? Nothing. You gave it. You start to notice this differently once you've felt it happen enough times. The sting isn't really in what someone says to you. The sting is in how fast you let it show. And the people who unsettle you the most are usually the ones who learned, somewhere along the way, exactly how visible you are. There's a difference between hiding and not handing something over, and you've probably never separated the two before. Hiding is performing a feeling you don't actually have. It's smiling when you're furious, agreeing when you're not, building a mask and wearing it so consistently that you start forgetting what's underneath it. That isn't strength. That's exhaustion wearing a costume, and you already know how tired that costume can make you. Not handing something over is different. It doesn't require a performance from you at all. It only asks you to stop treating every person in front of you as someone who has automatically earned access to your inner world. You can be furious and simply not stage it for an audience. You can be hurt and let that stay yours, not because you're suppressing it, but because not every room you walk into deserves to witness it. Think about the people you know who never seem to owe anyone an explanation for how they feel. They aren't colder than you. They've just stopped confusing privacy with dishonesty. You can be honest with yourself about every emotion you carry and still decide, deliberately, who gets to see it. That decision isn't a wall, it's a door, and you're the one who decides when it opens, not whoever happens to be standing closest. You probably open that door automatically more often than you realize. The second someone knocks, a raised voice, a pointed question, a look that says, "Explain yourself right now," and the door swings open without your permission. You start explaining before you've even decided you owe anyone an explanation in the first place. That habit, more than any single comment, is what keeps handing your inner world over to people who never earned an invitation. They only asked a question, and you treated the question like a summons. Marcus Aurelius ran an empire that was falling apart in pieces around him. Plague spreading through his own camp, wars on multiple borders at once, betrayals from men he had trusted with his life. And still, he wrote his private notes not to perform wisdom for anyone watching, but to remind himself, in private, who he still intended to be by the end of the day. He said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Read that again, slowly, because it's easy to skim past. He didn't say you have power over what happens to you. He said you have power over your mind, the one territory that was ever actually yours to begin with. Everything outside that, the comments, the provocations, the people trying to read your reaction before you've even decided what it is, none of it was ever yours to control. But the mind, what shows up on your face, what leaves your mouth in the next 3 seconds, that part has always belonged to you, even on the days it doesn't feel that way. This is where something starts to shift in how you carry yourself through a room. Not because you've decided to be quieter, not because you've decided to talk less for the sake of looking calm. Something more specific than that. You start treating your own reaction like something with actual value, the same way you'd protect anything else you weren't willing to hand out for free. You stop giving it away to whoever happens to be standing in front of you that day, just because they asked first. And once you start protecting it, you notice something almost immediately. The people who used to get a rise out of you stop getting anything at all. Not because you're suppressing what you feel underneath, because you've simply stopped showing your hand before the conversation has even finished playing out. There's a particular kind of power that has nothing to do with volume, and you've probably felt it around certain people without being able to explain exactly why. They don't raise their voice. They don't need to repeat themselves twice to be heard the first time. They say one thing, and somehow it carries more weight than someone else's 10 sentences put together. It isn't charisma in the way you've usually heard that word used. It's something closer to unpredictability. You can't easily provoke someone you can't read. You can't bait someone into defending themselves if they never feel the need to explain in the first place. And without anyone noticing it happening, that becomes its own form of authority. Not the kind people demand from a room. The kind people simply stop testing, because testing it has never once worked for them. You've probably tried to earn respect the loud way before, the same way many people do at some point without realizing it. Explaining your decisions before anyone even asked. Justifying your choices to people who were never going to be satisfied no matter what you said. Mistaking being understood for being respected. and chasing the first one constantly, hoping it eventually leads to the second. But notice what happens the moment you stop needing to be understood by everyone in the room. The need to explain starts to fade on its own. Not because you stop caring about the people in front of you, but because you've realized that explanations were never really requests for information. They were requests for control, dressed up to look like curiosity. And the less of yourself you hand over to satisfy that curiosity, the less anyone has left to work with against you. This is not the same as becoming distant. It's something quieter than that. You can still answer a question honestly when you want to. You can still tell someone exactly how you feel, if you choose to, in your own time. The difference is that it becomes a choice again, made on your terms, instead of a reflex that gets pulled out of you by whoever happened to ask first. There's a cost to this, and it would be dishonest to skip past it. Becoming harder to read does create a kind of distance, and at first, that distance can feel uncomfortably close to loneliness. People who used to get instant access to your reactions will notice the change in you, and some of them will resent it, because they liked having that access more than they ever liked you. This is where the line matters most. Becoming unreadable to people who never deserved access in the first place is not the same as becoming unreachable to the people who actually do. There is a real difference between protecting your inner world from strangers, provocateurs, people who only wanted a reaction they could use against you later, and shutting out the few people who have actually earned the right to see you clearly. Seneca wrote letters to a friend for years, not performances meant for an audience, but real, specific, sometimes uncomfortable honesty meant for one person who had already proven he could be trusted with it. He said, "As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters." That same logic applies to who gets to know you. It isn't about how many people understand you across a room full of strangers. It's about whether the few who do actually deserve to. You can build walls around the version of yourself that the world keeps trying to provoke for sport, and still leave a door open, on your terms, for the handful of people who never once asked to use what you gave them against you. That's the part you might be missing when you hear the word unreadable and assume it has to mean alone. It doesn't have to mean that at all. It means selective. It means finally deciding who actually gets a window into what's happening inside you, instead of leaving that window open for whoever happens to walk past it that day. There's another layer to this that takes longer to notice, and it has to do with how you handle the in-between moments, the ones nobody is grading you on. You don't only get tested in front of an audience, you get tested in the car, alone, replaying something someone said hours ago, feeling the same heat rise in your chest all over again, even though the person who said it has already moved on with their evening and forgotten the whole exchange. That delayed reaction matters more than people realize, because it shows you something true. The version of yourself you protect in public means very little if you're still handing your piece over to the same comment, the same memory, the same imagined rebuttal for hours afterward in private. Becoming unreadable to other people is only half the work. The other half is becoming a little less readable to your own racing mind, the part of you that keeps replaying the scene and building new arguments for a conversation that already ended. You start to catch yourself doing it, sitting somewhere quiet, mentally drafting the perfect response to something that happened that morning, a response you'll never actually deliver, to a person who's already forgotten it happened. And you notice how much energy that costs you. Energy you didn't spend reacting out loud, but spent anyway, in private, on a fight nobody else even knows is still going on. That's worth catching every single time you notice it happening, not to judge yourself for it, just to notice it, name it quietly, and let it go a little sooner than you did the time before. That's the practice, not perfection. Just a little sooner, each time. You'll notice this shift slowly in yourself, not all at once, not in some single dramatic moment you can point back to later. Someone will say something designed to get a reaction out of you, and you'll feel the old pull to respond immediately. And then, for half a second longer than usual, you'll pause. That pause is the whole thing. That's where the change actually lives, not in some sweeping transformation, but in that extra half second, where you decide what gets shown and what stays only yours. You'll start noticing how much information you used to give away for free, without ever being asked to. The face that answered before you spoke. The explanations nobody actually requested. The door that swung open the second someone knocked, without you ever once checking who was standing on the other side of it. And slowly, the people who relied on reading you start finding less and less to read. Not because you've become cold, and not because you've stopped feeling things as deeply as you used to. Because you've finally decided that not every reaction belongs to whoever happens to be in the room with you that day. Some of it belongs only to you, until the moment you decide otherwise. The next time someone tries to find the soft spot, watch what happens inside you. Watch the stillness on your own face, the pause before you answer, the door that doesn't swing open just because someone bothered to knock on it. That stillness was never coldness. It was yours all along. You just hadn't noticed until now that you were allowed to keep it.